All right, so if you're having trouble drawing, this is what we're going to get into. And as my little worksheet here says, 90% of students actually have these kind of troubles because, well, they're new students, that's why. You know, it's like learning anything new in the world, it's a struggle. But I think it's actually worthwhile looking at how kids learn how to draw. And here's an example from 2003. It's clearly beautiful, and I love the colors, but I think it also shows that kids start off drawing very flat, right? They don't really see perspective. You see this sort of very basic, this is supposed to be the ground, and then the tree is this basically flat shape, and then the branches come off. And so there's no sense of perspective at all. So a big part of what we're trying to do in these classes is give some kind of sense of what's it really mean to draw in a 3D kind of way, right? Yeah, I love these pictures. So we're going to start off with these very simple shapes right here, because that, before we can do 3D, we have to draw very basic stuff and get some control over it. So we could start by using a piece of charcoal. The reason I like charcoal is just because it actually does really do a good job in terms of being able to erase. And so let's just go ahead and try to draw some basic simple shapes. So that's our square. Notice how it's just basically straight lines, you know, right? Or a circle, or a triangle. One of the things that you can do if you want, you could try to draw things like in symmetry. So let's get rid of this for a second. Let's say we try to draw a little butterfly. Okay, so we'll use this circle as the beginnings of our butterfly, and we'll draw another circle right here, another circle right here, and another circle right here. We're trying to make all these circles about the same, and we're going to put our butterfly in the middle, and that's going to be the shapes of our wing. It's going to create the shapes of our wing. So making a little bit of symmetry there. You see how that's a butterfly now? We can erase a little bit of this just to give some better sense of the shape of these wings. Basic lines. So we're going to do these lines right here. And we might as well use a piece of charcoal again. So we're going to start off with some straight lines, and then some curved lines, and then maybe some zigzag lines. Are these coming in? How about some cross hatches? Some smoky kind of lines. I call them smoky because if you do enough of these, they look a little bit like scales or maybe like smoke. Anyway, yep, just work with different lines, or maybe even some little dots. What did little dots do? Little X's. Just play with stuff. All right, you want to do a lot of these. Get used to drawing straight lines, squiggly lines, many lines. Okay, so the next we're going to go to shapes again, but we're going to go to 3D shapes. So 3D shapes isn't quite perspective, although we could kind of use these things the word 3D and perspective kind of interchangeably. But when I'm talking about 3D, I don't mean necessarily that it has to be like in perfect perspective. So let's say we just started off with a cube here. Here's our box. And then what we do is we just add a little bit of darkness to one side and maybe a little bit of darkness to the bottom, and then just a little bit of a shadow on one side. So you see how just one side, like the lines are fatter than the other side, and then we can add just a little bit of a shadow. Okay, just play with these things. Just have fun with them. We can try a circle right here. So we're going to make a circle. And we're going to pretend that, let's say the sun is coming down like right here. So this part of the circle is going to be fatter than this part, right? This part's going to be a little bit fatter. Using a magic marker here just to make it more clear, although using it's almost easier with something a little thicker like this piece of charcoal, right? You can just quickly add in your darkness here. Here I'm going to erase a little bit on this side. Okay. We can do now the triangle. So we'll do the triangle maybe right here. And then one side is a little bit darker than the other, and that represents kind of the shadowy side. Obviously you don't have to make your shadows on the left-hand side every time. Let's see, what other shapes could we do? How about, I don't know, a U shape? So we start out with something that looks like this. And we make this side kind of dark. Just so you get some sense that you can go to kind of a 3D feel right away with your drawing, okay? So that's this sheet right here. Drawing 3D shapes, drawing shapes in perspective is the next thing, right? So we start with number 3 and then we go to number 4. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Number 4 there. Well, we could draw our horizon line. So here's our horizon line. We put our box in the middle. And we, let's say, make this our vanishing point. Right, so what does that look like? That looks like basically like this. And this side may be dark because the light is not hitting this side. And there's a little shadow over on this side. But I don't know, and we can fix things a little bit if we want to be perfectionist about this. This line can go down a little bit. Let's see, what else? How about a circle turning into a ball, okay? So we're going to make our circle turning into a ball right about here. Getting a marker. And see how these lines here make little moons. Doesn't have to be perfect. Although I wish mine was a little better. And we could put a little bit of a shadow into this side, I guess. All right, and let's see, what about a triangle on this side? So we'll put a triangle right about here. And we'll try to put that in perspective also. See, kind of in perspective. All right. So do a bunch of shapes in perspective. More you do, the better. Okay. The next thing we're going to work on is doing some letters in perspective. You see, I just did my first letters of my name, Jeff Halverson, so I'm going to try doing GH in perspective. All right, let's start by maybe trying to get the letters somewhat proper. So, I don't know, let's make my G kind of a squarish G. And my H kind of a squarish H. That kind of comes more naturally. So, here's going to be my G. And here's going to be my H. And I don't know, let's say the horizon line's right about here. And we'll have the perspective go off into the distance this direction. All right, so how are we going to do that? Well, it's not going to be perfect. If you want perfection, you're going to have to really, like, maybe, I don't know, get your computer program to do it for you. But that's going to be the edge of my G. That's going to be the top. And then this little angle right here is going to go down towards the horizon. All these little angles can go towards the horizon. This one here can go towards the horizon. And let's see, here's the front of my H. Letters like H are going to be way easier than a letter like G. G has like so many little angles in it that's going to be kind of hard. Okay, so what do I do with my H here? Well, here's my vanishing point. I want this angle to go here. I want this angle to go here. I want this angle to kind of go here, which is, it's almost on the horizon line anyway. I want this angle to go this direction. Same thing with all these. And then I've just put in the edges. Okay, and now I can fill in this area here to make it dark. You can see how I could have a lot of fun with this if I spend some time on it. It can be like a graffiti piece. And then I can put in like a little bit of shadow here if I want. Yeah, not too bad. Let's see, what's next? All right, so next it's talking about drawing big. Well, one possibility to draw big would just be to make the name again, make the initials, but really big. So in this case, just for time's sake, I'm going to make just some very big bubble letters. Okay, so my GH is going to be, it's going to be my G. See how big it is and how I'm using my arms to make these big letters. So that's going to be the beginnings of the G, and then I'm going to make the beginnings of the H kind of like this. See how big these strokes are? And then make the bottoms of the letters. That's quite a G, huh? Maybe just for time's sake, I'm going to use my piece of charcoal here to fill this in. So I'm going to make the shadows kind of come down over this way. And a little bit of shadows on the inside. And then the shadows on this thing. Anyway, it's kind of a graffiti style bubbly letter. And I don't know if this even begins to look like a G. Not really. I think we should get rid of a little bit of this to make it a little more like a G. And yeah, you can go crazy with this stuff, you know? You can make some little things that go off on the inside here. Some little clouds. I don't know. Just go nuts. All right. So that's drawing big. Let's see here. We got number 6, number 7. Okay, so number 7 is drawing an object that you found in perspective, or actually not in perspective. You want to just draw it in outline, okay? So basically you just take something you have in the house and you try to make it as simple as you can, okay? So in this case, I took this coffee cup and I tried to make it as simple as I could in outline. Yep, do you see that? But obviously I didn't take all the stuff, you know, these little interesting, I don't know, we got the Venus de Milo, we got Leonardo da Vinci on there. I mean, we got all kinds of stuff. We got Picasso. No, I didn't try to draw all that on there. But anyway, what you're going to do is you're going to take some object that you find. I mean, it could be something as simple as a toilet roll like this, but you're going to try to draw it so that you're just drawing the outline of it. Okay, so in this case, if I try to draw the outline of this coffee cup, I just basically try to get the right proportions. Is that right? Maybe it's a little bit too fat down here. And then I try to get this. How big is the handle compared to the cup? It's not maybe quite that big. So let's try to erase that a little. And maybe this is going up a little too high. You see that? Yeah, you see it kind of actually goes down a little here. So it kind of goes down like that. And it's a little bit inside, it kind of goes a little bit on the inside here and a little bit on the inside here. I just try to get those basic shapes, right? So that's all you're doing. You're just trying to get the basic outline of an object. You know, you can do anything you want. You can find, I don't know, some other coffee cup that you have, or some cans of soup, or whatever you got. You can make another Andy Warhol if you wanted. Let's see, what's next? Number 8 is trying to draw the same thing, but you're going to put it in 3D, okay? So you're not going to draw out all the perspective lines. I mean, not unless you really want to. But you're going to try to train your eye on really what is it that you're seeing. What are the basic shapes? Trying to make it as simple as you can. And at a certain point, you can take a picture of your drawing. Not necessarily taking a picture of your object, but taking a picture of your drawing and then comparing what you're seeing with the photograph that you took. That's very similar to, let's say, stepping back from your drawing, okay? When you step back from your drawing, you have a much better perception, or you have a better sense of like what is it that you actually drew. So I'm going to very quickly here draw this coffee cup and see if I can't get a sense of really how I would look at something like this. Okay, so I'm going to draw the ellipse at the top, draw an ellipse at the bottom, hopefully that they kind of match up fairly well, and then try to draw the handle here as it's coming off. Obviously I'm looking at it a little bit differently than the camera's looking at it. And maybe my coffee cup needs to be a little wider. I'm hoping this gets into the camera properly. Okay. Well, we can clean it up a little bit, I suppose. But try to just do that. Don't go crazy over it, but try to get the right proportions. So you see, I think that in actual fact, my coffee, the handle here in my case, could have gone down a little bit more on this side. This part needed to go down a little further. But anyway, yeah, this is more for demonstration purposes. And go ahead, give it a try. So that's number 8. And remember, take a photograph. Like, if I took a photograph and then I compared it to my actual coffee cup, what would I see? I might see that there's something like, you know, maybe it's a little too wide. Maybe some of the lines aren't quite straight enough. I mean, I can already see here that this line here is not quite straight enough. It really needs to go a little more like that. But anyway, let's go on to number 9. So number 9 here is create your own simple cartoon figure. So basically in this case, we're looking at it straight on. So we're doing this cartoon basically 2D, and then we're going to try to make it 3D. Okay, so if I'm going to make a simple cartoon character like that, I'm going to start with a circle. So here's my circle. And I'm going to split it in half because, you know, people's faces are symmetrical. And in cartoons, the eyes tend to be very big. So let's see, let's make an eye right here. And let's make an eye right here. I don't know. And I actually kind of like sleepy eyes. So if I put some eyelids like that, and he's going to have a little nose and a little mouth. So let's go ahead and try to draw him in. I'll use a magic marker just to make it a little simpler for you guys. So we'll start off with the top of the head. And we'll put in, so right through here is the midsection. So that's going to help you know if your eyes are kind of in symmetry or not. And same kind of oval shape for this eye. So and we can also give him a little neck here. So that's his little neck. You can give him little bits of hair. You can give him ears. All right, so give that a try. And then finally, we're going to work on a cartoon in 3D over here. So that's what this looks like. So you see, here's the basic outline, and then here's our cartoon as we go from here to here, right? This is done in pencil, then you can do this like in darker lines if you like. So I start off with a circle like this. And then we make a kind of moon shape right here. Okay, so just so you can see it, I'll use a piece of charcoal. And then we have this line here that splits the face in half. Okay, and then this is going to be where the nose is in this direction. The eyes are going to be up here, and the nose is going to be right about here, and the smile is going to be right about here. All right, so now the eyes are not exactly the right size. They need to be more symmetrical. So this one's a little bit on the big side. And we can also give him a neck. His neck is going to kind of come off like right about like that. Maybe we give him a little bit of a chin too. All right, so let's go ahead and draw him into with the magic marker. So we're going to put in the eyes. I don't know, he's going to have like a little bit of a sleepy expression here. Maybe he just drank a little too much last night. And then we'll outline the whole thing. Give him a little bit of hair. Give him some ears. And let's see what happens if we try erasing a little bit. So I'm going to get out my eraser. It looks okay. Really haven't done a lot of cartoon drawing recently. Anyway, you get some sense of like what you can do with this. Basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to take 2D shapes and make them into 3D shapes. And doing cartoons is just a fun way of doing that. But you can do anything you like in terms of turning 2D shapes into 3D shapes. All right, well, that's that exercise. I hope it helps you. Thank you.